The storm had rolled in fast. Rain pounded the city like angry fists, flooding the streets and driving most people indoors. But she had nowhere to go. Her name was Elisa. Once a high school teacher, now just another face lost in a city that had stopped caring. A few bad turns and illness in the family, layoffs, bills that piled too fast to escape, and everything fell apart. She had learned to live quietly on the edge. Shelter here, a church meal there. Pride had long ago been traded for survival. Tonight, she hadn't eaten in nearly 2 days. The cold had soaked through her coat, and her fingers were trembling not just from the chill, but from hunger. She wandered into a wealthy neighborhood in a desperate bid to find warmth. The houses here weren't houses. They were modern castles, gated, sleek, sterile. The kind of places where no one answered their own door. But one house had lights on. Through the wide glass panels, she could see warmth fireplace flickering. Elegant furniture, someone walking across the room with a tablet in hand. Eliza hesitated at the gate. She knew how this looked. Soaked, disheveled woman ringing the bell of a billionaire's home. Still, hunger outweighed shame. She pressed the button. A security camera whirred above her. She looked up, trying to appear harmless. Moments later, the front door opened slightly. A tall man stood there, wearing a hoodie and jeans, not a butler or guard, but the owner himself. His name was Adrian Kessler. Tech mogul, billionaire, inventor, recluse. The world knew his name, but almost no one knew his face. He wasn't the type to host parties or walk red carpets. He built things and stayed out of the spotlight. He looked at her with unreadable eyes. "Can I help you?" "Ow," he asked, tone cautious but not cold. Eliza's voice cracked from disuse. I'm not asking for money," she said quickly, "or charity. I haven't eaten. If I could clean your house, or anything just for a sandwich, maybe? Something warm? Please." Adrian said nothing for a long moment. His gaze was sharp, analytical, like he was scanning her for truth. Most people would have closed the door by now. Instead, he opened it wider. "Come inside." She hesitated. "I won't call the police," he added. "You look like you need help." Grateful and stunned, Eliza stepped inside. The warmth hit her like a wave. She had to stop herself from crying. The house was spotless, minimalist, full of subtle tech she didn't understand. She stood near the entrance, dripping rainwater. Afraid to step further, Adrian returned from the kitchen a moment later with a towel and a tray. Soup, bread, a mug of something steaming. She nearly dropped to her knees. "Sit," he said quietly. "You don't need to clean anything. Just eat." She obeyed. The soup was the best thing she'd tasted in years. It wasn't just the food, it was the act of being seen, of not being turned away like trash. He watched her in silence, arms crossed, leaning against the wall. Most people wouldn't have opened the door. She said softly between spoonfuls. "I know," he replied. She looked up at him. "Why did you?" He shrugged. "My mother used to feed strangers, said hunger shouldn't be political." A long silence followed. Then she wiped her mouth and stood. "Thank you. I'll leave now." "Where will you go?"
Anywhere that
"Isn't here," she said, offering a sad smile. "Places like this aren't made for people like me." "Maybe they should be," he murmured. She tilted her head, unsure what he meant. He continued, "Do you have any skills?" Bitterly, "I used to be a teacher. English literature. Not much use out here." "It's not true." He walked over to a cabinet and pulled out a small device, a prototype. "This is a language AI, but it struggles with nuance, emotion, human interpretation. I've been trying to find someone to train it with real-world examples, metaphors, poetry." She blinked. "You want me to teach your robot?" "More like guide it," he said. "You'd be paid. You'd live here. You'd be safe." She stared at him, stunned. "Why are you doing this?" His voice lowered. "Yes, because once a stranger gave my family food when we were starving. Never forgot it. Maybe I've just been waiting to repay that debt." Her throat tightened. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes," he replied. She did. Months passed. Eliza became more than a guest. She became part of the project. Her insights gave the AI depth and sensitivity no algorithm could generate. Her memory of poems. Her way of reading between the lines, it gave the machine something no one else could. Reporters began to notice Adrian Kessler's return to the tech world, this time with a revolutionary product. But he refused to name the breakthrough as solely his. At the product launch, when asked how his AI learned to understand the soul of language, Adrian simply smiled. She taught it, he said, nodding to Elizan, now confident, graceful. And finally fed, she taught me to. The world clapped, but no applause meant as much to her as the night someone opened a door and said, "Come inside."